been a while since I've made a video, so I guess that's probably going to be one of the hardest parts is including everyone in on the videos. I'm not used to videotaping everything that I do, so that's going to be a little bit difficult. And yeah, I use videotaping. I'm in the older generation when we used to use tape. Video recording, I guess, is the better way to say it. But yeah, there's been a lot of changes. So like I said, I'm sorry I haven't put any videos out. The last time that I made a video, we had 9 acres of property. Now, I mean, that was great. You know, we had 3 properties. One property is 7.5 acres. One property is an acre, and the property we currently live on is 0.6 acres, so a little bit over half. And all of it together, maybe a little bit over 9 acres. So, I mean, for starting a small farm, I mean, that's great. But, you need a little bit more than land to get a farm started, right? One thing I believe that you need to do is you need to find out what are you going to do about your debt. So, I've got a lot of debt that I'm dealing with. Student loans for when I went to college to get my electronics degree. There's that. There's the mortgage on the place that I'm currently living at. I have to pay for a mortgage. There's car payments. There's insurance. There's, all these bills that, most people, I think, have to deal with. But, when you're trying to simplify your life, which is what I'm really trying to do, is I'm trying to simplify things a little bit, trying to break free from having to work 40 hours a week, and just trying to free up some of my time in the process of all of this. You got to kind of learn how to downscale everything. Instead of upscaling your life, I think it's even more difficult to try to figure out how to downscale everything. And once you have certain bills and debts and stuff like that, those are hard obstacles that you have to overcome. And I think a lot of people face those things. I don't think a lot of us out here in the world, I don't think a lot of us are independently wealthy or able to have all these things that you see a lot of people on YouTube having. I don't even know their full story. You don't know everything that came about for them to be where they are, and I'm happy for them and all that. But I'm just saying that it's difficult. Nothing more than that. It's just a little difficult sometimes you got to get these things figured out. And at the end of the day, everything's got to balance, right? You got to balance everything out. And if it doesn't balance out right, it just isn't going to work. So I just said all that just so the rest of this kind of makes sense. So to try to take care of some of these bills and some of the issues that I'm facing, there was a guy who just contacted me, out of the blue, several months back, wanting to buy one of my pieces of property. And the piece of actually, it's 2 pieces of property together. They equal out to 7.5 acres. But I always counted that as one piece of property. Just one half is on one side of the road, the other half is on the other side of the road. And that was going to be our future homesteading site. Has a good 3.5 acres on the hillside. And we're going to put a nice house on there, and that was going to be like our dream. And then on the other side was a nice flat bottom land of about 4.5 acres, something like that. It looked like it was going to be perfect for what we were going to do. So this guy came up and asked if I was willing to sell my land. At that time, I was like, no. I've got plans for that land. I got things I want to do with that land. I don't want to sell it. I'm not advertising it for sale. And and he still was adamant about it. I was like, well, you're contacting me. I didn't seek you out. I didn't advertise for my land to be sold. Um, so if you want to sell it, maybe I'll sell it, but you'd have to pay a pretty high price. So anyway, that went through, and none of that worked out, you know. Um, so I just kind of went on, and for the most part, I just kind of forgot about it. And life happens, right? um, Things transpired, things took place, things happened, and in the process of things happening, it turned out that I did need the money. So then I still had the guy's contact information, so I figured, well, let me go ahead and contact him and see if he still wants to buy the property. And then there's a lot more involved in all this. I'm also praying about things. I'm seeking, what does God want me to do? I can't hardly even see around the corner, right? Let alone know what's going to happen next week, next year, 10 years from now. Um, I'm not really adequate to plan things in the future as well as God is. God can do more than see around the corner. He can see into the future. So I always make it a point to make any decision really, but especially those life-changing decisions, to take it to the Lord in prayer and seek His direction on things. And so, as I prayed about it, I believe the Lord just put it on my heart to sell that piece of property, as crazy as it seems, to just go ahead and sell it. And that's what the Lord led me to do. So I contacted him, and the Lord even gave me the price to sell it for, which was a lot lower than the price I asked him for before. But it's a fair price, and it's a price that the Lord gave me in prayer. So anyway, that all went through. It was a little bumpy there at times. It looked like the deal was going to fall apart. There was even a time where it was like the person buying the property was giving me a chance to raise the price, to where I could have maybe even raised the price, asked for a higher price. And it seemed like he was kind of opening the door for that possibility there halfway, which, if you think about it, is pretty bizarre, right? But anyway, no, the Lord gave me that number to sell it for that amount. So I said, no, I don't see any reason to change things. We can go ahead and keep it at the same amount. Let's go ahead and make this deal happen. This is the amount I believe the Lord gave me. So it all went through. I was able to sell that piece of property. Now, kind of fast forward a little bit. I was working at a distribution warehouse of a major store in America. Not going to say exactly which one. It's not the major one, right? It's maybe smaller. It's not the top store, but it's fairly well known. I was working in a distribution warehouse and working, at first 40 hours a week, and then after a while, it was going up to be more like 50 to 60 hours a week, and that's what I was doing. So when I was able to sell that property over there, what that did was it just gave me a chance, okay, that I could actually quit my job and go out on a limb, take a step of faith, right, and just see what happens, and that's what I did. So now I got that money in the bank. It's not going to last forever, right? It's only going to last maybe 6 or 7 months unless things change, so it's not going to last forever. But, sometimes you got to do things that are a little scary. I've been seeing that on YouTube a lot, do something scary, whatever. But, as a believer, if we're trusting in the Lord and it's the Lord that's leading us, and we have strong faith, it's really not that scary. Because here I'm trusting on someone who can see around corners. I'm trusting on someone who can see in the future. And I'm trusting on Him to lead me through this, through the unknown, so to speak. I'm trusting on the Lord. So that's what I'm doing. So it's not quite as scary. There is maybe a little scariness to it. But, I think that's why the Bible says, be strong and of good courage. Right? You can't be courageous if there's nothing to be afraid of, right? If there's no fear present, then how is it courageous to do something when there's no fear present? Not really that courageous. Just you're just doing something. But if there's some fear involved, there's some real reason to like, wow, what happens if you go this 6 or 7 months and nothing happens? You fall flat on your face, and then all that money was gone. Then that land you sold, it was for nothing. That's a possibility, right? So there's a little fear involved in that. But you have to be courageous, be strong, and of good courage. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to trust in the Lord. I'm going to have courage. I'm going to take the step of faith, whether it's scary or not. And I'm going to try to make it happen. Try to make it happen. So that's where we are right now. Now I've been reduced from over 9 acres. Now we're down to a little bit over 1.5 acres, 1.6 acres for the remaining properties that we have. And now it's kind of catching up to where we are now. All right. So, I'm still trying to get things started, right? Still trying to get that beginning. The homestead isn't a homestead yet. The only animal we have is our dog Jasper. And Jasper. You ready to go to bed? Ready to go to bed? What do you think?
Want to go to bed, Jess?
Let's go to bed.
Okay. Go to bed. Get a biscuit.
That doesn't really qualify. He's a non-productive animal, okay? The only thing he produces for us is laughter, all right? Which is, sometimes important. But he's not a productive animal. He doesn't count to me as being a homestead, or I don't know, just not to me. And we haven't really been growing any crops yet, other than we do have blueberry bushes. Like, subscribe, hit the little bell. And I can start walking down there right now. But we do have that. But I've grossly neglected them. Blueberry bushes that are grossly neglected. So where we are right now is we have these 2 properties, and as the plan is now, I'm looking to sell this current property, 0.6 acres, and it's a nice house, right? Kind of maybe see it here behind me. So it's a decent house, probably the nicest house I've ever lived in. So we're looking to sell this property, and if we can sell this property to get out of the mortgage debt and maybe come out with a little extra money to start a homestead with, then the other property that's 1 acre, right? That property over there, that's 1 acre, that's where our homestead is going to begin, right? And that's nothing fancy, not like this house, which is a nice, in my opinion, a fancy house. Nothing like that. We're living in a mobile home trailer, right? So, but to me it doesn't matter, right? Those things don't matter. Anyhow, so we're going to have 1 acre, and to me it's exciting to be out of a lot of this debt, and the good news is it will be property that we own without any mortgage, without any debt connected to it. So now that's where we come out on top, right? That's what all of this is really kind of heading towards, is getting rid of some of these debts, some of these bills, and that's going to free up a lot of time, because anytime you have a lot of debt, a lot of bills, you have to spend your time making a lot of money. So I don't want to have to spend my time doing that. I'd rather spend my time making less money and having more time for things that matter most, right? So here are the very neglected blueberry plants. All right, I kind of see those right there. Very, very neglected blueberry plants right there. Now some of them are not so bad. Some of them are doing pretty good. But a lot of these are actually dead. So I have to go through and take out the dead ones. I'm going to try to save some of the pots, because we are still on a pretty strict budget on things, and I'm just going to have to put these pots off the side. I use them maybe for other types of things, like starting seedlings or things in the garden, or I may do some clippings off of these healthy bushes and propagate some more bushes. So as long as you have some blueberry bushes, it's not a total disaster. Now it is a loss of time. Blueberry bushes to fully mature take about 6 years to fully mature. But once they're fully mature and you take good care of them, they can last up to 80 years. That's pretty substantial of good blueberries, antioxidants, um, you know, really good for fighting cancer, things like that. And that's important. It's a good superfood. It's classified as a superfood. So those things are important. So that is actually a almost failed crop that we're dealing with right now. Now, what qualifies me to be a micro farm starter? Here I have really no homestead yet. I don't have anything in place yet. I can't take care of blueberry bushes. Well, I know it appears that way, but actually I can take care of blueberry bushes. It's just that I haven't had the time to take care of those. I've been spending all my time out there working at the warehouses. So they've been neglected because I've been earning money in other ways. But now that I have my time freed up, I can spend more time on the blueberry bushes to bring them back to life and keep them going. And they actually have a long history with me. I've had these bushes for over 4 years. And it's just nothing but the grace of God that they're even still alive. I believe it's really just the Lord taking care of them and just using nature for the most part to take care of them. But I need to change that. Now that my time is freed up, I can devote more time to that and be a better steward over the things that the Lord has given me. So I can revive those plants, bring those plants back. And, I don't think anything qualifies me to be a micro farm starter. Okay, that answers the question. I don't think anything qualifies me to do that. I do know some things. I've gathered some knowledge on things. I do have some skills that I could use. But really, it's not about whether or not I'm qualified. Okay? It's the fact that I just want to get started. All right? I want to start a micro farm. I want to start a small farm. I just want to start one and do it. I'm not sure how good this light is. I'll turn it around. This might be a little better. So I just want to get started. I just want to do it, And, really for anyone watching this, I hope it's as encouraging to you is that you don't have to be an expert. You don't have to have everything figured out ahead of time. If you wait until you figure out everything ahead of time before you make the first step, who knows, maybe you'll never make that first step. Sometimes you just got to, be strong and of good courage and take that first step, right? And just see how it happens, and things aren't going to always go your way. You're going to have some struggles and some failures. But when you have those struggles and those failures, right, you learn from those. It makes you stronger. It makes you a better farmer, or whatever it is that you're trying to apply that to. It just makes you better at it. No expert started out as an expert, right? And so I just leave you with that. Just kind of be encouraged. You don't have to figure it out. You don't have to know everything. It's good to have some knowledge. You don't want to go into any situation completely blind. You want to know a little bit about what you're going to do. It's all about just, having some prudence, showing some good prudence about things. But you don't have to have everything figured out beforehand. You can get enough knowledge to gain your confidence a little bit, to say, okay, I think I know enough to get some things done, and then just have faith and just do it, just get it done. And you fail a few things, you learn from your failures, you get better, you move on, and you become stronger in the process. And me, I trust in the Lord. The Lord is my guide, and He's leading me through these things, and hopefully that can be an encouragement to you as well. You know, the Bible says, do not lean on your own understanding. Well, then what does that mean? It means I'm leaning on the Lord's understanding. And the Lord understands everything. So that puts me at a pretty good advantage, I think. So that's where we're at right now. That's the story right now. I know this is a long video, but I'm kind of like playing catch up for everything. Right now, the thing that we're doing is we're going to try to sell this property. This actually wasn't there a week ago, this mulch bed right here. Okay, that was just all weeds. And I went ahead and went to hardware store and bought a bunch of mulch, about 30 bags. Not just for that though. That's just half of it. To put some in here, actually, I think that took about 16 bags of mulch for that hillside right there. And there's also a flower bed here in the front, and we can take a look at that real quick. And I put the remainder of them in here, and I actually have one bag left over. So I guess 29 bags altogether. So I also mulched in all of this area for the front. All right. So I've actually been busy, and I should have made a video about that. But really, mulch isn't that hard. It's not that difficult. You want to lay down some kind of a weed block. And I decided not to go with the weed block they sell at the store, but to use cardboard. Now let me show you that real quick. This probably could have been another video, but I want to give you more than just right here. If you pull it back, right here, you can see out of here, it's just cardboard. Right? That's cardboard. Right? So you lay that underneath. That's going to block out the sun, the sunlight, and that's really the name of the game. You're trying to get rid of the weeds, take away their sun. So you put that cardboard down, blocks out the sun, and the best thing about it is if you use weed block that you buy in the store, right? It's I don't know what it's made of exactly, but it's kind of like a plastic sheet with this black coating on it or something. I don't know how it's made. But that stuff will stay in the ground for years and years and years and years, and most likely almost never break down. Right? That creates an unnatural barrier surface. Right? So it doesn't allow your ground to drain very well. It can cause it to pull up with water. It can cause all kinds of, unless you use some kind of a cloth, like a weed block cloth, something like that. But there's some issues. I just don't feel right doing it. They use cardboard because cardboard will allow the water to be drain free. Cardboard is closer to being natural. It's going to break down. It's not going to last forever. And it's good weed block. So yeah, I think it's a win-win. And cardboard, I think it's going to allow the worms to come up to the surface. So that's going to be good for all the soil. Really, I'm just doing all this to get the house ready for sale. That's why I use the red mulch. Is the red dyes. I understand all that, right? But it's about appearance, right? It's about how does it look. And I think it looks good. So that's what I went with. I'm trying to make this house look nice. Trying to improve things. I gotta mow the grass. I had to burn some brush over here. So there's a lot of projects that are going to be involved in selling the house, and hopefully I can include you on those and kind of do these projects together a little bit. But have you liked or subscribed to this video yet? Might be a good idea. This area here needs to be cleaned up. You know, I have all these this brush behind me, and need to burn all of that. And so we have some maybe some bonfires or something. That might be cool. Might be a little fun. And you know, I just need to mow the grass, get my weed eater out and start doing that. Pull weeds, you know, trim bushes, just kind of make things look a little bit nicer. I think it looks kind of nice already. I kind of like this place as far as the way it looks, but it's just you know, it's weighing me down financially. So I need to kind of move on. But so we're going to go ahead and get this place in shape, and then hopefully sell it. Hopefully within a few months. And then once we get this place sold, it's one more step towards freedom, towards freeing up my time even more. Now, right now, technically, my schedule is free. It's open. But still, I am kind of limited by how much money I'm able to spend on certain things. So I can't just go crazy with my time. But I'm going to try to make the best use of my time. I'm going to do these projects, get this place sold, try to build the farm over there at the other location and get that going. And then hopefully we'll all learn something in the process. So I have to end this video at some point. It might as well be right now.
Don't forget to like and subscribe and click the little bell. Thank you.
What do you think, Jasper?